Good afternoon. It's Monday the 9th of November 2020, and here in England, in the UK, we have been in a second lockdown since last Thursday. So it's going to be impossible for me to go down to the Swamp Duck on the Ashby Canal much before the beginning of December, unless things change dramatically. And unless there is a problem with the boat, then I'm going to have to make the trip. But at the moment it's being well looked after by those people who are permanent moorers on the mooring, so I'm not too worried about it. I have left it with the bilge pump switched on, so I have no worries in that respect. So what I thought I would do as regards producing videos is to spend some time reviewing much of the footage that I've taken this year since January. There's a lot of footage that obviously never made it into the videos, as I always record far too much and end up a lot of it not ever being seen. So I'm going to have a good look through that and put together a little montage of the things that I've been doing this year. And then there's a task that I want to attend to, and that will take me into the workshop and give me something to do, and then I'll explain that as the video goes along. So hope you enjoy this vlog and the ones to come in the next few weeks, and then hopefully I can get back down to the Swamp Duck and do some proper filming. Good afternoon from the cockpit of the Swamp Duck. It's Saturday afternoon on the 18th of January 2020, and I've come over to the marina this afternoon to do a little bit of work on the boat. And the thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hopefully installing a bilge pump. Good morning from the Swamp Duck. It's Saturday the 25th of January 2020, and I need to make sure that those leisure batteries are very secure. At the moment they've got straps on, which I bought when I got the leisure batteries, but I'm going to build a little bit of a framework because the regulations say that the battery can't move any more than about 10 millimeters, which is not a lot. So they've got to not only stay in their place, then they can't tip or anything like that. So that's one of the jobs, is to make sure that those batteries are not going to move anywhere. Good morning and welcome to the deck of the Swamp Duck. Today I'm going to be changing the solar setup on the boat. like to do is to put in one of the diesel heater. Good morning to you. It's August the 22nd and I've come over to the swamp duck today to begin the installation of the diesel heater. Good morning, it's Saturday the 22nd of August and I've come over to the swamp duck today to begin the installation of the diesel heater. Good morning, it's Wednesday the 26th of August and welcome back to the deck of the swamp duck. I've come over today to carry on with the installation of the diesel heater. Good afternoon, it's Tuesday the 13th of October 2020 and we've come over to the swamp duck this afternoon to continue or at least complete the installation of the diesel heater. Top tip, do give yourself plenty of time to do this task. Diesel heater. 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 So as far as the installation of a Chinese diesel heater is concerned, I think that will do. I don't really want to do any more videos about it. A problem I have with the mooring on the Ashby Canal is the fact that the canal is very shallow and the mooring is extremely shallow. That's partly been made worse this year because of lockdown, because for 3 months there was very little movement on the canal, and so all the silt that was in the water eventually settled to the bottom, and you could actually see that the canal was crystal clear and you could see the fish. Most unusual. And then as boats have come past, they have then pushed the silt and made a ridge. So it's very difficult for me to be able to start the boat when it is moored up at the side of the canal. It's just not deep enough, and if I lower the engine I'm simply lowering it into a layer of thick mud, and obviously I don't want to start the engine because it's going to cause damage. The mud will get sucked into the filters and it'll stop the drain hole at on the outboard, and then that affects the engine and it'll overheat. So I really don't start the engine whilst it's at the side. So what I have to do is I have to turn the boat so that it is at right angles with the bank, so that the engine is some 18 foot away from the canal side and in deeper water. I then have to get on the boat and I then have to push it out slightly with a pole to make sure that the engine is in deep enough water. I then have to start the engine, so that means lowering it down, connecting the fuel line, pulling the choke out and hitting the electric start. Now it never starts on the first pull, you have to do it on the second one. You push the choke in and then it'll start, and it's never let me down. But if it ever did or cut out once I'd let go of the rope, it means that I would have no means of being able to get the boat back to the mooring. And then also when I've been out on a trip, when I come back I have to head towards the bank so that the bow of the boat is heading straight for the bank. I know it's not going to hit because it's got this sill of mud to slow it down, but I can't quite get near enough sometimes, and I have to do a giant leap of faith with the rope to the side and then pull the boat round. So it would be much easier if there was a mooring pole, so I could, instead of getting off the boat, I could throw the rope onto the mooring pole and then at least pull the boat a little bit nearer before I do that giant leap, and one of these days I'm just going to fall in. So what I want to do is I want to make a couple of mooring poles and have them either side of the boat, so that no matter which way I'm going, I can it will help me in starting it, and it will help me when I bring the boat back. Okay, so in order to solve this problem of mooring, I need to make a couple of mooring poles at either end of the mooring, so that I can use them to keep the boat attached when I'm launching the swamp duck, or to throw a rope round when I'm coming back, and it should help me to keep the boat safe whilst I'm dealing with the engine. So I bought this pole. It's quite a substantial chunky pole, and I got it from Wix, and it was the princely sum of £7.50, and it's long enough for me to be able to cut it in two and get a couple of mooring poles from it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to measure it up and cut it in half. The top end of this post is beveled at the top, and the bottom end has a point on it. So I'm going to, first of all, I think I'm going to cut this point off here and just bevel the bottom of it, so that will then form the top of one of the posts, and this will form the top of the other. So it's then a matter of measuring the post and dividing it equally into two halves. So this is rather an awkward pole to move around on the bench, but I've made enough room, and I'm going to cut it by hand. So there we are, I've managed to get through that quite easily. So the pole itself measures 138 centimetres, so 69 centimetres for each half. So I'm going to mark that off, and then I'm going to cut through that as well. So there we are, that's the two parts separated. And the two poles should now be roughly the same length. So my next job is to make sure both tops are beveled.
bright moonlight, I was told. When the storm is raging in your head, feel there's nothing more ahead. The hills, they seem all green, but they hide all the monsters. And you can hold my hand as you reach for water. And in the hills by the lake you were chasing your dream. And I gave you a rose that you kept unseen. Kept unseen. It was worth a fight.
Obviously the reason for having a boat is to use it. And my goodness, this last year has been difficult to do that. First of all, we started off with a couple of storms right at the beginning of the year, including Storm Dennis, and then we went into lockdown, which lasted from March until June, and then there was quite a lot of illness around, and it took a best part of 6 weeks to get through some of that. So boating has really been quite difficult, and it's just been done in between times whenever we could. But I was doing some counting up, and I think I've probably spent around 17 or 18 days out on the rivers and on the cut. So I'm just going to put together a little montage of the best bits. What do you think? Yes, good idea.
The Swamp Duck is a Railcraft 19, built in 1973 primarily as a rivercraft, but they can also be found operating in coastal waters as fishing boats. It is a semi-displacement design. The hull incorporates both rounded sections for increased storage and tankage, and a flatter hull section to partly lift the forward part of the hull out of the water, thereby decreasing drag for increased high-speed cruising.
the stars glow bright, the summer's old, and the misty bright moonlight I was told. When the storm is raging in your head, you feel there's nothing more ahead. The hills they seem all green, but they hide all the monsters. And you can hold my hand as you reach for water. And in the hills by the lakes you are chasing your dream. And I gave you a rose that you kept unseen, kept unseen. For so long, kept unseen. For everything you shared, for everyone you loved. The hills are green.
When I'm making videos for the Cabin Cruiser Boating Adventure channel, I do like to try and think a little bit out of the box. Rather than just doing videos about boat maintenance and cruising videos, I like to visit places that are boat related. And even though we've had restrictions this year, I've still managed to make quite a few visits. I began the year by walking some of the Chester Canal and then visited the Anderton boat lift on one of their open days. I've walked part of the Derby Canal, which is slowly being restored. I visited Gloucester and the Gloucester Docks, and then went to Tewkesbury, where the River Severn meets the River Avon. Spent a lovely week walking the River Ewer and have visited locally the Bosworth battlefields. So I'm going to leave you with some images of those visits. This video is due to be published on the 5th of December. So hopefully by then in England we will be released from some of the restrictions and I'll be able to resume some kind of filming. So please subscribe and you'll be notified by YouTube when I release more videos. So thank you very much for watching and please do take care.